Today we're going to be doing a simple, easy, quick, natural looking back to school look for those of you who's going back to school. I know you don't want to hear it, but guess what? After school, your life is going to be smooth sailing and it's going to be unbelievable, and you don't have to worry about the schools. So guess what? I'm going to help you out today by doing affordable drugstore products and hopefully get you up in the morning and get you out the door real fast. So let's go ahead. Okay, now to get started, we're going to start off with primer, and I always use two different primers. The first one I'm going to use is the e.l.f. This is the Poreless Primer. See, I got a little label on it because the words actually wore off on it. Now, I just use this like in my T-zone, especially where my pores are like really big. So that's what we're going to do with this. As a matter of fact, I'm almost out, so I got to take the lid off, of course. We're just going to dab this right where the pores are. And we're just going to dab it in with our Beauty Blender. And this isn't actually the Beauty Blender. This is the LA Colors one, and it works just as good. Now for the second primer we're going to be using the L'Oreal Magic Lumi. This is their primer. And I'm using this one because we're going to be using a matte foundation. So we're going to need a little bit of shine somewhere. And I don't use but just a dot of this. Get that out of the way. Just rub it together. And usually this just goes up under my eyes, because most of the Poreless primer that we put on is already all over our face anyways. Even though you just put it on the T-zone, it spreads out. A little bit on your nose. Dab everything in with this thing. Now to go in with our foundation. Now, this is the part, if you got any bad spots or anything that you want to conceal, you want to go ahead and do that now if you have the time. If not, use a full coverage foundation. You don't even need this to spot conceal with this. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect, and it's in the shade 02 Natural. I think, yeah, it is. I always shake these things, I don't know why. And just a dab of it. That's my dab. I don't know why I ain't even been using my mirror. And I just put it on just by spots. Especially right there on that forehead. Big old forehead I got. Okay, now usually I spread this out with my brush and then I'll grab my Beauty Blender or my LA Color sponge and just dab it in after using the brush. So I want to go ahead and spray my brush, and I'm using the Wet n Wild Flathead Foundation. If you can tell, this is very low. I'm always using this thing. It works wonderful. We'll just spread that in. And usually with foundation, I like to go down with it, because all those fine baby hairs, it will lay them down. And I don't like to get too close to my under eyes because we're going to be using a concealer to highlight up under there. And I always match my foundation to my neck. And I also spread it all the way down my neck, just to make sure it matches good. Okay, I believe that's good enough. And we're going to take our sponge and we're going to dab it in, just to make sure it's in there good. I'm so sorry, y'all. I've had this weirdest cold for the last month, and it just don't want to go away. All right, next we're going to go ahead and highlight up under our eyes. Now you could skip this step If you don't want to wear a lot of heavy makeup going to school, this really don't take a whole lot of time. But if you want to skip this step, you can. It's fine. Now I'm going to be taking the hard candy, the Glamouflage, and mine is in ultralight, I do believe. Pretty sure it is. Yeah, it's in ultralight. Now this is a really good concealer. It covers eye bags. It doesn't crease on me. It doesn't. So I love using this. This is almost every day. The only thing I don't like about it is it does not have the stick part like this one does. So I usually put a dot on my hand, and then I'll take the stick part of this one, because this is empty, and I'll use it with that. Now I just poured just a dot of it. You don't need that much of this. This is a very heavy duty concealer, and it works really awesome. And like I said, I'm going to take a stick of another one that I have that's empty, and it's got the doe foot applicator. And that's what I'm going to use to dab this on. And like I said, you can skip this step. And again, if you're wanting your makeup to last all day, like when you're in school, then I would go ahead and set it with a powder. That's what we're going to do. And you can also, just use the makeup setting spray. And it should make it last all day. I'll put just a little on my nose. Any parts you want to highlight, and like I said, this doesn't take a lot of time, but you can skip this step, especially if you've got 5 to 10 minutes to get ready. This is a perfect look to do it, but you can leave this one out if you want. And then we will take our makeup sponge and we will dab this in. You know, we gotta make these ugly faces. Some of us just like to do it on camera. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and set our foundation and our concealer with this pressed powder. I'm using the Broadway Color pressed powder. This is in light beige. You can tell I use this a lot. This is a really good matte powder. And I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild. This is the, I'm not sure, the blush brush it might be, or the face brush. But these brushes are really cheap. They're like $3 for the face brushes and $1.50 for the small eye brushes. So we're going to dab in, we're going to tap it out. I usually just set my T-zone and then I spread it out. That's why we use the L'Oreal to lighten it up a little bit up under our eyes. And I always get my ears and my neck. And just a little bit of powder will go a long way. Believe it or not, it really does. I reckon it depends on what powder you're using too, though. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. We're not going to do any contouring. We're going to do a little bit of bronzing. And I am going to highlight a little bit more up under my eyes. I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Contouring Palette. And I'm going to be using the Banana shade. This one is in the Caramel Toffee shade. And this banana shade right here, I'm just going to put a little bit. I'm not going to bake with it, but I'm going to put a little bit up under my eyes. I'm going to be using the Luxie 660 brush for this. Now this is just something I got in my Ipsy bag, but I know they do have affordable brushes. Just a little bit. We're just going to put just a little up under there. And it's going to highlight that center of your face. Now for the bronzing, you need just any big brush that's going to work. This, if you could tell, it has been, actually my dog got a hold of it and it's still working great. And I believe it was an e.l.f. brush. But any big brush is going to work for this. And what I'm going to be using is the LA Colors I Love Contour Makeup Palette. I love this palette and it's got a wonderful highlight in that, believe it or not. The shade I'm going to use for the bronzing is actually going to be this shade right up here, the very last one on the top row. And of course they don't have shade names. We'll load our brush down and we're going to kind of kick it off. Just use this to bronze up your face a little bit. And you know what? They're actually going to think that you've been on vacation somewhere for your summer break. will give you that bronzy glow. And I try to get all on my forehead. And that is usually my testing spot for my bronzers, but since I know that this one is a good color on me, I didn't have to do that this time. And I usually bronze my nose a little bit too, because you know the sun hits that too. So whatever you're bronzing, it's going to be parts of your face that the sun hits. So of course your nose sticks out there, so of course the sun hits it. Now we're going to get some blush. This is the Makeup Revolution, the Blush Palette Goddess. Better open it up. Now this has got some highlight shades. Well, I use them for highlight shades, but you can mix them with the blush and they can turn out like the Milani Baked Blushes. So for this one, I'm going to use this little peachy color right down here. It's the first one on the last row right here. And I'm going to be using, I forgot what brand this is, but I do know it's drugstore, and I will put it at the top right here for you. This is one of my favorite blush brushes. I love using this. So we are going to dab in that shade right there. We are going to kick it off a little bit. And I don't never smile whenever I'm doing blush. I just feel like, you know, when you're not smiling, that it just falls in the wrong place. And just remember, tap your brush off after every use. And now we're going to start on brows. Now, most of y'all probably don't have brows like me. Like, I shave the tails of my brows off so I could shape them a little bit more. Most of y'all could probably just fill in your brows and go out the door. So I am going to fill in my brows a little bit for y'all, and I will show you what products that I use. And then I'm going to do them off of camera because I doubt very seriously y'all have to do as much as I do with them. And I know that would take time. So usually I just fill mine in. And like I said, that's why I shaved the tail off. I know I went kind of crazy on him this time. I didn't even tell you what I was using. Oh my God, this cold is getting to me. This is the LA Colors. This is their little brow pencil. I don't know if it had a shade name. I'm pretty sure it did. But this is just like the chestnut brown color. And if you can tell, I use this thing all the time. It's a very good brow pencil. So we're just going to fill them in. And like I said, y'all probably don't have to do as much as I do. And matter of fact, in the next few videos, I will be doing a brow tutorial. Now I'm going to go ahead and off camera and finish my brows. But I will be using any kind of clear brow gel. Usually I use the ColorMates. This is very affordable. It is drugstore. And then I just use any spoolie brush. I love this one, the LA Colors Browy Wowie. This one is one of the best drugstore pencils that I've ever used on my brows. And then I'll just use maybe the LA Colors brow pencils like this one and like the little one that I had. And a brow powder, which is the NYC in Brunette. This is the Brush Brow Kit. That is usually the ones that I use. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start with the fun part. That's the eyes. So we're going to take, now you could take an eyelid primer or you could take a concealer, whichever one you prefer to use, that's what you get. And I'm going to go back to the Glamouflage. I'm going to use a concealer to go ahead and prime my eyelids. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a dot of it. Just a dot. I'm going to go ahead and put one dot on each one of my eyes because, like I said, this stuff is heavy duty. Just going to rub that in. Matter of fact, I might have to blend this one with my sponge just to get a little bit of the excess off. I don't know why I'm not using my camera. Oh well. Okay, Now that you got that in real good, you want to set that with the powder also. So I'm going to grab my Alexi brush again, and also going to be using my pressed powder by Broadway Colors again. This is the light beige. This is what I showed you. This is what we set our face with. We're going to dab this in there a couple of times and kind of kick it off. And we're going to set our eyes. That way this will make your eyeshadows go on a lot smoother. And using the primer is going to make it last all day. Okay, now for the eyeshadow palettes, I'm going to be using this is the Milani Everyday Eyes palette in Earthy Elements. See all these beautiful colors. And I'm also going to throw in a cheaper palette. This is the LA Colors Downtown Brown. And these things are only $2 a piece, and they have got pigment like you wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe these little palettes like this in dollar stores and stuff would have this much pigment, but they do. Now you want to grab a blending brush, any kind of blending brush you want to grab. I'm using the Wet n Wild blending brush. And I'm going to take one of the lighter colors in this, the LA Colors palette. Let's see. Matter of fact, I believe I'm going to grab this color right here. I'm going to lay this down for a base. So we're going to put that on our blending brush. Like I said, we're going to lay this down for a base. We're going to kind of coat it all over the eye. Grab some more of it. You definitely want to kick off your brush whenever you are doing this. Because like I said, these are kind of powdery, but they do have pigment. And that is what we are after, is the pigment. Now that we've laid our base, we're going to go ahead and get a transition color. Now I'm going to be using the NYX Professional brush. This is their blending brush. And for the transition color, we're going to go back to the Milani palette. We will use this light tannish khaki color right here. Beautiful transition shade. I use this a lot for transition. Tap off your brush, don't forget that. Okay, let's see. I want to make sure y'all can see. Now I go a little bit out with mine just because my eyes are rounded and I like to go above my crease. And see, whenever you go out, if you've got rounded eyes like mine, it will definitely elongate your eyes and make them look a lot more sleeker than what mine are. And you want your transition all the way around. Now once you get the color laid to blend in, you could go in circular motions or you could do windshield wiper motions, it doesn't matter. But usually after I go windshield wiper motions, I usually go in circular motions just to get it blended out a little bit more so there isn't any sharp lines. Okay, now you want to grab any kind of crease brush or anything like that that you have. I'm using the Glamour Dolls crease blending brush. This is what I got in my Ipsy bag, I believe. I think it was Ipsy. Yeah, it wasn't BoxyCharm, it was Ipsy. Now, I'm going to go into the orange in the same palette, and we're going to focus this one on the outer V. And we're going to kind of pull it halfway in, but mostly on the outer V, because this is going to be one of our darker shades. Tap that off. Usually in my outer V, I usually like to do that in circular motions. That way some of it gets on the outer V of your lid also. And then once you get most of the color laid down, you could go ahead and pull it in. Make sure you stay in your crease, and then you can come out a little bit out of the outer V. Now we're going to jump into the LA Colors palette. And I want to choose one of these shimmer colors because these are just so beautiful. And like I said, they are so pigmented. So I believe we're going to go with this color right here. It's a peachy, orangey shade right here. Beautiful color. Now this is the only brush that I use for my lid, and it, of course, is high-end. It's from the Naked 2 palette brush. That's what it is. But any brush that you have like this will work perfect. So usually I spray with Fix Plus, but since it's a school look, we don't want it to look too blingy. So we're going to kick that off. We'll lay this on our lid. And if you want a little bit more shimmer, and I do this a lot, I'll go back into the color with my finger. Just kind of swipe it through twice like that. Pick up some pigment. Then I'll lay it on the middle of my lid. And it packs pigment like you wouldn't believe, and it goes on so much better with your finger. And I will take my brush that I applied some with in the first place. I'll kind of rub it back and forth just to blend it out. And now we're going to go back into the LA Colors palette. And I want to pick up a little bit darker brown for our crease, just to define our crease a little bit. And I believe I'm going to use this darker brown right here on the bottom. And I'm going to actually use the same brush. This is the crease blending brush, the Glamour Dolls. But like I said, any brush you have like this is going to work just fine. So we're going to pick some of that color up. I'm going to tap it off. And usually when I'm putting on the dark colors, I'll kind of circle it on the outside, because I just wanted to define that outer V a little bit better. I'm going to start pulling it about midway. Kind of blend it as much as you can. Sometimes you can wipe off the brush and the blending works so much better. And we'll go ahead and pull it all the way in. Blend all those colors together. Now we're going to have to go back up to our brow bone, and we're going to have to highlight it. So I'm going to be using this color in the Downtown Brown LA Colors palette. This one right here. It's a very light color. Let's see. I didn't bring my brush I do that with, but I'm going to use this one right here. And this is one of the pointy crease brushes. I'm just going to use this to highlight up under our brow bone. Don't forget to tap off your brush. And we're going to put that right in here, and I pull mine all the way out. Now when you're doing this, if you have hooded eyes like me, I wouldn't pull this highlight down too far, because it will make your eye look a lot smaller. So you definitely don't want to do that. And we're going to take our blending brush, which mine is the Wet n Wild. We're going to blend all these beautiful colors together. We're going to kind of go out with it. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start on our lower lash line, and you don't need a lot when you're going to school. A lot of people, when they do it, it makes you look like you got a black eye. It depends on your eye shape. I reckon that's what it is. I'm not sure. But I'm going to go in with this. This is a Wet n Wild brush. And this is, I think it's their small concealer brush. I'm not sure. So I'm going to go in with that darker brown that we had. Go in with that and definitely tap this off, because this does pick up shadow like a pro. God, the flies are killing us. And we're only going to pull it halfway. Then we're going to go back to our, like I'm using the crease blending brush. So we're going to go back in with this, and we're going to pick up our transition shade that we used, which is this one right here in the Milani palette, the khaki color. We're going to load that down on the brush. And we're just going to kind of blend that out just a little bit more than it is. so it don't look so harsh. Okay, and you don't really need no inner corner highlight for this look, but you know what? I'm so used to doing it all the time and I just want to put it on. But you don't need anything too like wow, like in your face. So they got a beautiful, I'm going to use the Milani. I'm going to go in the Milani palette in this color right here. It is a beautiful shimmer color, and it's almost like a cream shimmer color. I'll take a little bit. I'm going to use the pencil brush. This is my Eco Tools. We're just going to put just a little on the inner corner, not much. Just enough to see. Okay. And now if you want to come back out, I'm not going to do liquid liner. I'm not going to do no harsh wing or anything like that because we are in a hurry. We got like 5 minutes to get ready for school. So we're not going to do a wing. So to shape your eyeshadow, if you want to do this, or you can leave it like the blowed out look or whatever you want to do. I tend to shape mine a little bit because of my eye shape. All you have to do is take, like I'm taking the pressed powder that we set our face with and everything else. And I'm going to take some of it on my brush. Kick that off because that's a lot of powder. And then I'm just going to kind of shape mine because I'm so used to shaping mine. Now you do not have to do this if you like it the way it is. But if you want to shape it, all you got to do is put your powder right there, wherever you want it shaped with. I want to kind of brush that dust off just a little bit. And now I am going to tightline. Wow, all my stuff. I am going to tightline. I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Color Icon pencil in black. And I believe I'm going to use their brown one for my bottom line, but just to give it a little depth to it. So I am going to go ahead and tightline with it. Should have sharpened it. I'm going to sharpen this. Since we couldn't find the sharpener, I'm going to be going in with the dark brown, and I'm going to tightline with this. And I'm going to do this one all the way around my eye. I was going to do the black tightline on the top and then the dark brown on the bottom. But a little change of plans, and that usually happens. You know, if it's a dark enough brown, I mean, it works just fine. Matter of fact, brown probably looks a lot better with this look with all the oranges. Make sure you get that outer corner really good. Kind of closes the look off. Okay. Now, if you want to take some of this and put like a smudge line on the top of your lid, I mean, that would look so beautiful. But as far as wings, I'm not going to do a wing for this look. I'm always doing wings in my videos. But for this look, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to keep it, you don't want a lot of heavy makeup when you're going to school. So now we're just going to curl our lashes, and I just got I picked this up at the Dollar General store. I'm not sure what brand it is. I don't know if it's LA Colors or I think it's called something else. So we're going to curl our lashes. And then I'm going to go in with the Full Lash Bloom. This is the CoverGirl mascara. This is in the, I think, black brown. I love brown mascaras. This mascara is so beautiful, and it keeps your lashes soft. It doesn't get hard at all, and it does somehow stay on for about half a day. And it does have a brush like this, and I always kind of wipe my brush off like this, and especially the end, because that's where usually all the goop comes out with it, and you don't want a clumpy look. And I wasn't going to do falsies for this look either. Like I said, I wanted to just keep this simple and natural. Now, bottom line, I was going to let y'all see, I promise. I usually take it long ways to do for my bottom lashes. Okay, now while I do my other eye, I'll be right. Okay, now for my favorite part. This is highlight. Now you could skip this step or you can use a highlight, it don't matter. You don't really want to wear one that's really blinding, but I do have a really subtle one in the I Love Makeup Contour Palette in the LA Colors, and it is this shade right here, and it's a very beautiful iridescent pinky color, and it does have a lot of kick up, so you do want to tap off your brush before this one. And if you want to, just lay it on your cheekbones. And it does look a little intense in my camera, but it is not. It's very subtle. I always bring mine up. Of course, our nose and our lip. Okay, now we're going to start on lips. Let me go ahead and I like to blend mine out just a little bit. Now you don't really want to use anything that you have to use a lip pencil with, because lip pencils take time. Trust me, they do. So I am going to be using, this is, I think it's Mellow. This is what I got in my Ipsy bag. And it is a nude color. It was just called Nude, but it is a beautiful rosy nude color. Very beautiful color. And you can pick these up a dime a dozen. Drugstores have them, online has them, anywhere has them. And this is a very affordable product. Foundation on my lips. And I love this lipstick because you do not need a lip liner with it at all. Okay, now you could just leave it like this, or you could put a gloss topper on top of it. I do have the Hard Candy. This says hydrating lip stain. It's Hard Candy all glossed up. And if you could see, it is a very iridescent, beautiful, like a highlighty purple, but it comes out more like a pink when it's like on a nude color like this. So I do like using this, or you can use a lip gloss like the e.l.f. Lucious Liquid Lipstick. It's called a liquid lipstick, and again, my dog got a hold of it, if you could tell. But this is a very beautiful rose color nude. It's about the same color as the lipstick that I have on, but it is like an iridescent color. It's not a full color. So we are going to be using this one. And it's just for your palette. And it does make your lips look fuller. Okay, and I will be back. Okay guys, that was the end of the video. This is it for the natural, fast and easy natural back to school look. It's fast, it's easy, and like I said, a lot of the steps that I took in this you could skip, because I know not a lot of y'all cut off the tail end of your brow or anything, so y'all don't need to do that. Just fill them in and go on out the door. Put up a cool little hairstyle and you're good to go. So I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Thank you for being here with me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe.